Jamie here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. December 4th, 2024, 3:13 on this fine afternoon. Talk really quick about the market, some names I'm looking at, go from there. But take a look at the S&P. Once again, all-time highs. Uh, Fed Chair Powell spoke a little while, well, at 140, and it's like a comic book of quotes, and you see the news wire. I was gonna try and take a listen, but I figured probably better things to do, uh, do some stock due diligence, etc. But you take a look at some of the comments. Of course, first I like his comment around Cold. He says Bitcoin is used as a speculative asset. I mean, isn't every asset speculative in nature, right? And then he says it is not. It is a competitor with gold, not the U.S. dollar. I mean, I'll agree with the first part of that. Um, and I don't know, it's in competition with the U.S. dollar, but it's got to have some kind of impact at some point, right? Especially one of my bull case back in 2013 was the amount of devaluation, the whole, I would call it the market cap of the currencies, right? And I forget what the data was, uh, but I came up with like a 30 grand price target on Bitcoin. It's back in 2013. I'll see if I can find the article. Uh, but some of that was just based on the amount of the currency, right? And then if Bitcoin took whatever percentage of that. So, I mean, that's easy, napkin math, right? Uh, but anyway, I like that in regards to being bearish gold. At some point, I'll look to get some more gold puts. And then he talked about some other things in regards to the consumer. I forget what anyway, so I'm trying to find some of them because there were some funny quotes, but I can't find them now. Um, Hang on. Sorry, folks. And of course, I can't find it. Can't find it. All right. That's fine. Anyway, there was some comical quotes. So it was more of a, in my opinion, same old, same old. I talked about employment strong, inflation's coming down, they've lowered rates quicker than they thought, blah blah blah. I I mean, I'm still on the fence. I think they're not going to cut rates in 2 weeks, but 74% probability right now that the Fed cuts rate. So take a look at the SPY. You look at the lows 604.95, the highs 607.18. So again, you do the math. It's like a $3 range on the SPY. I mean, it's another half percenter, right? So uh, I think yesterday was 0.3%. The day before that was 0.3%. I just pretty remarkable, right? All in the face of new all-time highs. Every bear who's been bearish over fear mongering over the last decade. I mean, they keep saying this is the bubble. That whether it's the crypto, it's the AI, Nvidia. There's always this narrative they can create that backs their bear case. And at some point, we're gonna have a pullback. So 610, I'll be watching. We're at 607.34. Uh, if we get to 610, I'm not saying I'm gonna get puts. I'm not saying I'm closing all my positions. That's where I'll be a little more cautious, right? So that's kind of the thought process. There you look at the upper Bollinger Band too. It's 607.39. We're at 607.35. Actually, we snapped above the Bollinger Band just a second ago at 607.52 and pull back. So that could be some resistance here today, maybe some chop, and then hopefully into Friday we get to 610. Unfortunately, small caps look like they might have wanted to break out today, and that hasn't been the case yet. So back in the green, holding that 240 handle again. It's 240.21 on IWM. Still have some time here for small caps to get IWM to get to 250 by the end of the month. And then last but not least, the VIX. And the VIX, and I always talk about Bollinger Bands. The Bollinger Bands, to me, they help a couple categories, right? One is oversold, one is overbought, well, undersold, oversold, overbought, and then chop, like consolidation before a big move. Um, the other part, and those are the three components, but one part of that too is not part, but when we get to the lower Bollinger Band on the VIX or upper Bollinger Band, when the VIX breaks above those, typically 2 cycles, it has a big reversal. So right now we're at the lower Bollinger Band on the VIX down to 13. It hit 1289 earlier today. So something I'll be watching. I don't think I posted in this chat room. I think I had it on the watch list this morning, the VIX. So the VIX is certainly back. Well, again, I'm not sitting here putting my bear suit on and getting all negative, nervous Nelly, down, Debbie down, or whatever you want to call it. But I'm certainly, things I'll be watching over the next couple days. All right, so that's the overall market. This time yesterday, I was talking about Roku, how I locked my calls in, the rest of my calls in. The stock had broke down into the 75s. It was part of the plan, right? I mean, a lot of times if you don't have a plan, I mean, it's great. Sometimes if I didn't have a plan on Roku, I would have been still holding the $80 strikes. I went up to over $6 from 30 cents or 29 cents. But I had the plan. Thought once it broke $80, be off to the races. And what happens? It gaps all the way up to 79 and change right in the pre-market. Actually, pre-market was over 80. Then it went down to 79 when the market opened, chopped around, and then just took off to the races. Uh, I'm not going to go rant here on Roku because if you don't know my thoughts, one of these days I'll do a more in-depth rant. But I just think it's in the perfect spot right now. Some are citing Walmart's news, so they acquired Vizio, right? I think did they acquire Vizio? And supposedly that was going to be a big competitor for Roku. It seems like everybody has the Bears is very easy, similar to a lot of these other. I'm trying to think of some of the other names, but it's very easy to create a bear case on Roku because there's so many competitors out there. I mean, the Googles of the world, right? They have YouTube TV, uh, the Trade Desk, which is the the king of the crop when it comes to advertising, monetizing advertising platforms, things like that. And everybody thought that would be it for Roku. Used to have the Amazon. They had the Fire Stick. That was going to be the end of Amazon. You had Apple TV Stick, right, or the Apple TV. That was the end of Roku. And they not only do they continue to survive, but they continue to be the number one uh, content platform, and they're continuing to grow. So you have to think. I mean, it's $10 billion. It trades. I was it 2 times revenue, something like that, or is it 5 times revenue? I mean, it's substantial. Big. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick. Uh, but now this morning you had Needham, who's always been bullish, and if you hear me talk about, actually it's 4 times revenues, but some of that's because of the move today. If you've heard me talk about Roku over the years, I forget what her name is, but she's been the ultimate bull on Roku. And she came out this morning pretty much saying what Guggenheim said, that it's an M&A target that would be acquired or could be acquired. Guggenheim mentioned the trade desk. She mentioned uh, other, the Googles, the Amazons, Microsoft, and she thinks it's going to be acquired for a substantial premium in the next 12 months. Maybe this is the kick it needs. Like I said, after its last earnings report, I was looking at calls and earnings. I thought it was a great earnings report, but it's these folks think that maybe it's at some point there's no moat and it's just going to start declining growth and declining streaming hours, declining revenue per user, and the business goes away. I don't see that happening. And I think maybe some of that's gonna be priced in. I posted it this morning too as the stock was running. I'm like, I think it's gonna. It was being priced for the company has too much competition. Now I think it needs to be priced revalued for a possible buyout, and I think it's substantially higher. So got some 100 strikes for December right after the open, and I got some Januaries, and I was able to close both of those out to cover costs with some profits. I'll continue to ride those. You know, now we can ride. I was trying to find a good meme for that, but I now it will allow me to hold on to them because I think some of the issue with Roku, it's but like DCZZ posted, it's like post traumatic stress disorder because especially this year, there's been a lot of times where Roku looks great and then the next day it just takes it all away. So now I can ride those free, take some of the emotion time, take some of the time element out of the trade, and I'll just hold those into the new year, pending any crazier move. If it gets up to 90 tomorrow, I'll certainly lock some more in. But I'll continue to talk about Roku over the coming days. But big spot over that 80, and then you start looking at gap fills. I think it's 90 is the gap fill. Well, 87 from earnings. Uh, I have to go look at those. All right, so that's Roku. Take a look at Fiverr. Finally added some more strikes. I was talking about Fiverr yesterday, running up over 6% on that UBS price target upgrade. Didn't even upgrade the stock. They raised the price target from 31 to 32, kept their neutral rating, and then the stock runs up 6%. It's running up nearly 4% here today. I started looking at it, and I didn't realize it had a 20% short interest because back when I was really bullish the name, and I shouldn't say really bullish because I'm really bullish right now, but back when I would do research on it, the short interest wasn't part of the equation, right? It had like a 5% short interest, 6% short interest. Back when it ran up to, I think it was $360 stock back in February of 2021, it had like a 5% short interest. And typically you're not gonna see the high short interest at the highs, right? Well, I shouldn't say that, but I think as it's come down, people start to look at it and then they look at the multiples and then they start thinking, wow, AI is going to destroy Fiverr. And then they continue to short it. And I think now they've shorted to the point where they're wrong. They keep shorting it. And I don't know. I think it heads much higher. So got the January strikes. I was looking again, time. I want time on my side here. So got the January strikes. I think it heads over 40, if not into the 50s in January. So added those strikes. Typically what I do, lock some in on the way up. So I'll continue to do that. So that's Fiverr. Also, what is it? 20. I'm trying to think what. All right, I had some other, but I can't even think of it now. All right. Unity, which Unity is still up 7%, but off a little bit off the highs. Um, Huge move here, and it's up 11 of the past 12 sessions. It's up 50, I think 54% over that time frame since November 18th, somewhere in there, and it's still down 35% for the year. I'm not saying it's going to recoup 35% more, but I think there's still opportunity into the end of the year, and I think there's opportunity into next year. So, um, after it chopped around for a while, finally my calls are back above where I locked some of them in before. So closed some more out for a little over 400%. I keep looking for more January strikes. I'll probably wait till tomorrow. Um, it is also over its upper Bollinger Band, 2657. It's at 20. Well, it did go over. It's 2627 now. So maybe it needs a day or two, and then maybe I'll look to get some strikes. But I'm gonna be patient here. Also, you had that golden cross, right? When the 50-day crosses the 200-day moving average, that happened like 4 sessions ago. So to me, that means there's more meat on this bone, right? I don't think all the meat's been eaten just yet. So I think it trades over $30, if not higher, into January. So that's kind of the thought on there. Not much here. The update on JOBY looked great in the morning. Nice reversal. And then up 3%. Let's see where it is. I don't have the exact second here. Yeah, up nearly 4%, but off its highs. You look at a chart, held 775. It's been volatile. Again, similar to you, it's up so much over the last month and a half. So just to see it consolidate and then have a green day today, I think that bodes well. And I think it's only a matter of time before it's back over $9. Going to continue to hold my freebie positions. Already locked a lot in for some nice profits. So no reason to lock more in. If anything, I might look to get some April strikes at some point as those premiums come down. Other quick names, Altimmune. I mean, the biospace has been pretty much a graveyard since the election, and it's been very difficult for me to even get bullish because, despite the fact, like VKTX and the GLP-1 sector, and then even some of the other names that I like in the space, I think they're undervalued. It reminds me of I think it was 2022, or maybe it was 2023 when all these bio accounts um, were selling at less than cash, right? So you have a $200 million biotech company and it has $300 million in cash, and the market's a forward pricing mechanism. So the market's pricing in, hey, they're going to need to spend X and X amount of dollars just to get their drug through some of the studies. So that's some of it, but I'm not saying we're in that same kind of spot here, but I'm still being very patient. So Altimmune, I still have some December strikes, which are going to need some help, but it's spiking. I think it was on CNBC yesterday. The CEO obviously must have said something, but also Turn is running too. Similarly, normally I'd be bullish and grabbing some Turn calls, but I'm going to be patient there. And not only that, like I said, 610 comes on a SPY. I'm going to be a little cautious. So don't want to be holding too many positions, but still eyeing those. Turn actually looked like it was going to be a death cross with the 50-day crossing under the 200-day moving average. And today it's up nearly 11%, and that might save the day. Square's over 98, by the way, just now. So Square, I was actually looking to get some more strikes over 95, but I'm just going to be patient here. So, it was stuck at 89 all last week, and then finally it's in breakout mode. I mean, this might overshoot, but at the same token, I'm just gonna be patient here. You also have Deutsche Bank this morning raised our price target to 125 from 96, and I think this parade of bullish analyst commentary on Square, which is just picked up over the last week or two, continues. So really like Square. And then Peloton. I mean, what else to say here about Peloton? I'll just sit on my hands for now. It looked great yesterday. It was ready to break out, and then just found a wall, right? Ran out of energy. The bike ran out of gas, and here it is down nearly 4%. No news, no catalyst that I see. But I think at some point it reverses here. So hopefully by the end of the week it's back over 10. Same with Teladoc, disappointing. So you had Piper Sandler actually took the price target to 13 after their analyst day or investor day, reiterating their buy rating. Stock ran after the open, 11:45, sold off, pretty much just hit lows a minute ago, broke under 11, is now starting to bounce. I mean, it's up 1%, but hopefully that starts to get going over 12 this week. And that's it, folks. Let's have a great afternoon. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.